If you click this video, then you know who Marcus Aurelius is, a Roman emperor, savage beard master, and most notably, a sort of philosopher king, because he wrote Meditations, a personal diary meant to be a roadmap for his mind. Much of this book talks about Stoicism, which is a philosophy focusing on controlling your reactions and emotions towards things that are outside of your control. And people today regard him as almost the leader of Stoicism, as a role model to look up to when you need to get past a hard point in life, deal with impulses, or even beat addiction. But what if the greatest Stoic of them all, a seemingly perfect figure in the eyes of many modern men, was a straight-up addicted tweaker himself? Indeed, I'm not lying. The man who silently preached about keeping a sober mind to be at your best struggled with a degenerate addiction to opium, which is the original painkiller, and is what morphine, oxycontin, heroin, and even fentanyl are all based off of. Opium is the same plant that'll kill a bird not because it was toxic, but because the bird chose to stay and eat more opium instead of going to find food or water. Honestly, what a legend. So why was such a wise man hooked on something so degrading and obviously contrary to his life philosophy? In simple terms, he had that Michael Jackson doctor, a Kanye West dentist if you will. Marcus was prescribed medicine by a man named Galen, who was the premier physician of his time. You see, Marcus suffered from chronic diseases that caused lifelong pain. Not only that, but he spent much of his reign as emperor on the battlefront, protecting the borders of Rome when the empire was at its greatest size in all of history. A life on the road among soldiers is a hard one, and chronic diseases made it none the easier. Knowing this, Galen prescribed Aurelius with theriac, which was thought to be this amazing cure for everything. Sort of like how your grandma thinks Neosporin is capable of curing cuts, AIDS, and broken bones all at the same time. Theriac was a conglomerate of up to 64 ingredients, one of which was opium. Doctors would pulverize these many ingredients and then absorb them into honey and wine. This created a thick paste which could then be dissolved into water or even more wine for consumption. This is what Marcus Aurelius started to consume every day, and even several times a day at its worst. But despite what I said in the beginning, the addiction wasn't as bad as some make it out to be. A historian pointed out that this dose was relatively small, being about 0.033 grams of opium within the overall mixture. But even in these small quantities, it does seem that he grew a dependency on it, but he still left opium out of his mixture whenever he could, or whenever he deemed it necessary. If he had to work late into the evenings, he wouldn't use opium. If he felt too drowsy throughout the day, he would stop taking it. He even tried to forego the drug altogether. But this is where the substance tightened its grip on Marcus. Because even though one of the reasons Marcus used theriac was to help his insomnia, he found that sleep became impossible when he quit opium. And since there is no historical evidence of the emperor overcoming his dependency on opium-laced theriac, he likely used it until his unfortunate death at 58 years old on the 17th of March, year 180. Because Marcus Aurelius had this persistent battle with addiction while he was writing about Stoic ideas like confronting pain, controlling impulses, and staying sober, people have used this to discredit his work and basically call him a fraud. But before you make any judgments, there are a few things we have to remember. First, Marcus wasn't preaching to anybody. People imagine Meditations as this book Marcus was writing to become a thought leader and a well-known philosopher, but this is completely false. Meditations was not a book. It was his personal diary. They were kept very private and nobody read them during his entire lifetime. His writings were so private to him that he even demanded people to destroy his journals when he died. But of course, nobody listened. Meditations is a compilation of many journals put together by Roman historians in defiance of a dead man. Marcus Aurelius did not want anybody to read his thoughts. He only wrote them to guide himself through his own life. Secondly, even though the use of drugs is hypocritical to Stoicism, even the greatest Stoic philosophers were self-proclaimed hypocrites, and none of them ever expected people to live up to perfection. The greatest minds in this philosophy like like Seneca and even Marcus himself, said in their own ways that humans are flawed. Nobody is perfect, and we are all prone to fall subject to our human impulses and weaknesses from time to time. In fact, one of these stoic ideas is to basically not sweat the small stuff. Just because you acted irrationally one time does not mean you should let that hold you back from trying your best in the future. And this was the exact same for Marcus. He was never perfect, but I'm sure that for every time he acted against his philosophy, there were a couple other times he used stoicism to act as logically as he possibly could. So despite Marcus Aurelius having a bad relationship with opiates, in today's world, there are so many addictive features that I believe stoicism has never been more useful and important than it is right now. But anyways, that's all I got for you right now. This was Loriam. Have a lovely rest of your day and take care. Also, like and subscribe!